Hello there and welcome back to our grow along with our vegetables. So I often really envy those people who have beautiful pots, and you see on Instagram or Facebook or various platforms, you see these fab pictures. Pinterest is another great one. Great pictures of these wonderful things that people have sown and pots that they've grown into, and they look amazing. And I think, oh, why can't I have some pots like that? And I don't know where to find them. Well, look what I found. This is an old truck that my grandchildren had for their toys, and they no longer wanted it. And I, at some point, have acquired it. I don't exactly know when. And I've discovered it in the back of my shed, and it really has seen better days. But I absolutely love it. And guess what I'm going to grow in this one? Carrots. What else could you grow in a rabbit truck? So, just goes to show you can use any container. I have drilled some holes in the bottom of this for drainage because nothing likes to sit in water. I have lined it here with black plastic. It's just the remains of a compost bag, and I've cut it and put it in the container, and I've topped the container up with compost. So what I'm going to do now is simply draw a couple of lines in the soil. These are my carrot drills. So this line is called a drill. So these are my drills for my carrots. I'm going to use my watering can just to water the drill, and water it fairly well so that the compost is nicely soaked. And you can see here, putting a goodly amount of water in here, and it will all soak in. There we go. So that's the first stage of growing carrots. Now, I am growing these carrots. This is what I'm sowing. They're Johnson seeds. I don't know where I picked them up from. Again, these are from last year, may even be, no, I think they're last year. And they're just multicolored carrots. They're just the same as any other carrot. They just happen to be multicolored. Carrot seeds are quite small. So let me put them into my hand here and show you. These are carrot seeds. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is to just sprinkle them, pinch with my fingers and sprinkle them lightly. You don't want to have too many. I'll show you exactly what I've done in just a moment. Make sure you put any seeds that you don't use back into the packet, because we can sow a second lot of carrots either in our pot or another pot, or out directly in the ground. Carrots are one of those great vegetables for successional sowing. So a sowing this week, a sowing in 2 or 3 weeks' time, a sowing 2 or 3 weeks after that, and then instead of getting a ton of carrots all ready in one go, you can harvest them gradually over a period of time. So here we have the carrot seeds all in a line in the drill that was pre-soaked with water, and I sow them in lines to try and keep them to make it clear that they are carrots and not weeds. And then just use your fingers to once again pull the compost lightly over the seed. Press it back down again, and once again just covering the seed up lightly. There is a rule of thumb, it's not set in stone, but the suggestion is that you should cover a seed with the same depth of compost as the depth of the seed. So it's like little tiny carrot seeds hardly need anything on top of them at all, but they do need something. So protect them, cover them, and there's your carrot seeds done. Once again, I've got one of my trusty markers. You can use these. These are just lollipop sticks from the craft shop. They're very cheap, biodegradable. I like all of that about them. The other thing I've used sometimes is plastic milk bottle containers, which I've cut up and make into seed labels. But we don't drink a lot of milk these days, and so I rarely get a milk container. So. And the other thing I use, I'm just going to show you this again. This is the marker. It's a garden marker, an indelible pen. I promise you that it's worth the investment. They're a matter of £1.50 each or something, and you can get them on Amazon. So yeah. So on this label, I'm just going to put carrots and the date today. Because then that helps me stay on top of when I can start getting excited about carrots coming forward. So these carrots, what it says here is seedlings appear after 14 to 21 days. So that's in a couple of weeks' time. We may be seeing carrots in this little container. I am now going to put it in the sunshine against the south-facing wall on my patio. I'm going to give it a little bit of a water on the top, and if the nighttime temperature looks like it's going low, and by low I kind of mean below about 3 degrees Celsius, if I see it's going certainly into frost territory, I will be putting some horticultural fleece over it. If you haven't got fleece, you could use some bubble wrap. If you haven't got bubble wrap, you can use a piece of polythene or a polythene bag, something like that. If you haven't got anything, you can bring them into the house. And if you don't want to do that, well, you can just pray to the nature spirits to look after your carrots, because they do okay when it's slightly cooler. All right, my friends, thank you for being with me, and I shall look forward to hearing how you're getting on, and I'll see you in another video very shortly.